Welcome to Math with Mr. P. Today we're doing 6th grade math, chapter 5, lesson 1. We're going to be learning about integers and how to use integers to represent data and how to graph integers. Our very first thing that we need to do is define an integer. So this should be in your notes for this lesson. An integer is a number with no fractional part, meaning that it is a whole number. All the whole numbers and all the whole negative numbers are integers. 0 is also an integer. Fractions are not integers. Decimals would also not be integers. So again, an integer is any whole number, whether it's negative or positive, and 0, because 0 is not a negative or positive number. So integers would fall along our number line. These are all examples of integers. 2, negative 16, 38, 0, 459 are all integers. Not integers, 1.5, negative 3.21 and 7/8. So again, an integer is all whole numbers that can be positive or negative. And then 0. Positive or negative whole numbers and 0 are integers. Fractions, decimals, not integers. Negative numbers. Negative numbers are on a number line to the left of 0. When we count positive, we start with 0 and go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've talked about this in class with our x and y axes. X-axis goes from left to right, y-axis goes up and down. So on the y-axis, positive numbers will go up and negative numbers will go down. On an x-axis, negative numbers will be to the left, positive numbers to the right. A number with a value less than 0 is a negative number. So, for example, the number closest to the right is the bigger number. So even though negative 1 looks smaller than negative 5, technically negative 1 is going to be the bigger number because it is closer to the right. Negative numbers means an absence of numbers. So think of it as money. Would you rather owe $1 or would you rather owe $5? Negative 1 is the bigger number than negative 5. The more to the left of a number line, the smaller it is. The more to the right of a number line, the bigger it is. A number with a value less than 0 is a negative number. So it will always have a little negative sign in front of it that'll indicate a negative number. Negative 2, negative 5, negative 736, negative 88.5, and negative 9.623 are negative numbers. A negative number has a minus sign to the left. Notice this is negative numbers and not negative integers. These decimals here are negative numbers, but are they negative integers? No. Negative integers on this one would be negative 2, negative 5, negative 736, because they're all whole numbers. The fact that they have a decimal in 88.5 and 9.623 make them non-integers. Again, integers are whole numbers. A positive number is a number with a value greater than 0, and it is on the right side of your number line. And you've been dealing with positive numbers. We don't put a plus sign in front of it. They're just regular numbers. And again, just like our last example, 4, 736, 8.5, and 29.623 are positive numbers. Positive integers would just be those that are the whole numbers, like these two here. 8.5 and 29.623 are not positive integers because they are not whole numbers. They are decimals. And that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. So we're going to be dealing with integers and graphing. Our vocab today is going to deal with integer, negative integer, and positive integer, which we just went over. If for any reason we went too fast, you may want to go back and add that in. And then remember, if you're doing a vocab page, make sure that you guys do one ahead of the lessons in your notebook and leave yourself some room, because we are going to be having 7 lessons this chapter with quite a lot of vocab. Lesson 2 has vocab. Lesson 3 does not have vocab. Lesson 4 has a lot more vocab. So make sure you leave yourself a good 2 to 3 pages in case you want to do vocab on a separate piece of paper, a separate page, and label it by lesson. So this will be lesson 1 vocab. Here's our real world link. It's going to deal with money. The bar graph shows the amount of money remaining in the clothing budget of 4 students at the end of 1 month. A value of -2 means that someone overspent the budget and owes his or her parents $2. So it's going to be a little blurry, but we're going to do our best here. We're going to go ahead and... So remember, on a number line, like a y-axis, all of my positive values are going to be up top. And I know I did not need to highlight 0. So these are my positive values. Because remember, 0 is neither negative nor positive. And then all of my negative values will be towards the bottom. So let's go ahead and let's change our marker color. We'll do this one. Berto, if I can read that correctly. That's probably not what it says. I have no idea what that says. Let's do this really quick. I'm grabbing the book so I can read along with you guys on page 345. And I'm going to see what this says because this scan in is very, very blurry. It is Berto. I was right. Berto is at about $5 left in his budget. So I'm going to put 5 there, or $5. That's how much money is left in their budget. Elijah is right at 2. So Elijah's got $2 left in their budget. Jenna overspent $2. So she's going to have -$2. And Myron really overspent and is at -$8. So, while Berto and Elijah still have money to spend and they did not go over budget, Jenna and Myron are going to be owing their parents $2 and $8 respectively. What number represents owing $8? Myron owes $8, so that would be -8. What number represents having $5 left? That would be Berto, and he would have, I'm going to change the color here, he has $5, just 5. Who has the most money left? Who owes the most? Berto has the most money. He has $5 left to spend, and Myron is the one who overspent a lot and still owes $8 to parents. And those would be your answers for that. So, use integers to represent data. Positive whole numbers, their opposites, and 0 are called integers. Now, when it says positive whole numbers and their opposites are negative whole numbers. So, positive whole numbers and negative whole numbers and 0 are called integers. To represent data that are less than 0, you can use negative integers. A negative integer is written with a negative sign. Data that are greater than 0 are represented by positive integers. And again, positive integers do not have positive. Here, it's going to say positive. Normally, we would just write the whole number by itself. So just say 1, 2, 3 instead of positive symbols. Remember, as we discussed, and this needs to be in your notes, 0 is neither negative nor positive. 0 is the absence of numbers. So 0 does not count as a negative or a positive. Negative integers on a number line, like an x-axis, will be to the left. Negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they are going to go from left to right. The bigger number goes to the left, but remember, the further left they are, the less they technically are. So -6 is actually smaller than -1. And then positive integers go to the right. And again, the further right they are, the bigger they are. So while -6 is technically smaller than -1, +1 is also smaller than +6. +6 would be bigger because remember, the more to the right, the bigger the number is. So between +1 and +6, 6 is bigger. Between -6 and -1, 1 is bigger because it's closer to the right. Write an integer for each situation. Explain the meaning of 0 in each situation. This is where we're going to get into a lot of vocabulary. A 10-yard loss. The word loss is going to explain this. Now, like in football, say like a running back gets the ball and is tackled behind the line of scrimmage. This is a 10-yard loss. Because it represents a loss, the integer is -10. In football, the integer 0 represents no yards lost or no yards gained. In football, 0 would be the line of scrimmage. So if we snapped the ball and we got it right back to the line where the ball started, we didn't gain anything and we didn't lose anything, like it says here. So let's do a quick diagram really quick. I'm doing this with my mouse. Hopefully it straightens out. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Okay, let's try that again. We'll do this with a pen this time. So this is a football field. Football field, every 10 yards is a first down. Let's indicate the line of scrimmage with this blue line. This is where the ball is snapped. The ball usually is snapped backwards to the quarterback who tries to either throw the ball this way or hand off to somebody else who tries to run the ball this way. Let's say the ball is snapped, and for some reason our running back decides to try to run backwards before running this way and gets tackled back here at 10 yards behind this line. This would represent a 10-yard loss, and just like a number line, we're going back to the left if they're trying to make the ball go this way. That would be a 10-yard loss, and that would represent losing 10 yards. Two inches above normal. Above being our key word here. Because it represents above, the integer is 4, +4. In this situation, the integer 0 represents the normal amount of rain. So we need to look at key words here. So I'm going to make a chart here. This is going to represent negative. I'm just going to put neg and positive. P-O. I don't want pause. We'll just do that. And they are going to be represented by different words. So we've already seen above show up for positive, for above, and we talked about a loss. We can also use opposite words. If above isn't positive, then below would be negative. So like say, 30 degrees below 0. Another positive would be a gain, would be the opposite of loss, would be gain. So we're going to keep working on this chart as we keep working on this and see if we find any other words. A $48 deposit into a savings account. This means you're putting money into an account, which means that your account is gaining money. So we're going to go back to our chart and we're going to put deposit in our positive category. And I'm going to do this. Positive, negative. A deposit is when you put money into your bank, which I know some of you might think, oh, well, I'm losing that money physically. You are, but it's getting put into your bank account, which is now growing. When you take money out of your bank, it is known as a withdrawal. Withdrawal or withdraw, that will be negative. You're taking money out of your account. So we have two new words. Because it represents an increase, the integer is 48 is what it would be. 48. And in the situation, the integer 0 would represent no money in your bank account. You not owing anybody any money, because if it was negative in your account, that means you overdrafted and you owe money. And if it's not positive, there's nothing in it, then you don't have any money. So 0 would be the lack of either owing money or having any money. Let's do these problems to find out. Write an integer for each situation. Explain the meaning of 0 in each situation. A gain of $2 a share. So this is dealing with stock market stuff. This means your stocks went up in value, plus $2. So the integer would just be 2. 0, the meaning of 0 here would mean that you did not gain any value in your share, and you also didn't lose any value. So gain shows up again, which was already on our positive side. 10 degrees below 0, below shows up for the first time in our work, but we had it written down because of above. 10 degrees below 0 would be negative 10 is our integer, and 0 representing the temperature. 0 is, on a temperature line, I believe, I'm not sure what freezing is, but 0 would be, 0 degrees. It's not positive nor negative, so 10 degrees below 0, 0 represents degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius, depending on what they're referring to on a temperature scale. Graph integers. Integers and sets of integers can be graphed on a horizontal or vertical number line. To graph a point on the number line, draw a point on the number line at its location. A set of integers is written using braces, such as this. Graph negative 7 on a number line. Remember, we're always going to start at 0, so negative 7 would go 7 to the left, which is here. Look at the negative. The negative is like a little line pointing to the left, which means you're going to the left. Negative 7 would be on the left of a 0 on a horizontal number line. Graph these sets of integers. Negative 4, 2, and 1. Negative 4 would be right here. 2, which is positive 2, would be on the right of 0, 0 being right there. And negative 1 being to the left of 0, and negative 1. Graph the set of integers 0, 2, and negative 3 on a number line. This is a vertical number line, so 0 is still present, but remember, positive is up top, negative is on bottom. So we're going to start with positive 2 being right here on top of 0. We're going to then go to 0, which is already circled, and then negative 3, which would be below 0, 3 down. So remember, on a horizontal number line, positive to the right, negative to the left, and then on a vertical number line, positive up, negative down. Please do these problems to find out. So we're going to go ahead and get a bigger marker here to graph these. I'm going to actually use a different color. Let's use purple. So I've got negative 3. I'm going to start at 0, and negative 3 is at the left, right there at negative 3. 0 is 0. Negative 2 will be on the left of 0, so right there. And 4, which is positive 4, to the right, right there. Now, this number line, this question does not give us a number line, so we're going to actually draw our own. And it's up to you. This doesn't give me a lot of vertical space, so I'm actually going to make a number line, a horizontal number line. And remember, you want 0 in the middle, and you want to look at what numbers you have. So you have negative 9, negative. So I'm going to go ahead and start counting these ones off, possibly by 2. So I'm going to put 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, and I'm seeing I'm not going to have room here, so I'm going to erase that. Negative 8. And I picked a wrong marker. Negative 10. And I'll do my arrow there. So my very first one that I'm going to pick, I'm going to go ahead and do a different color dot line, is 8. 8 will be positive 8, so it'll be right there at 8. Negative 6 will be on the left of 0 at negative 6. Negative 9, because I drew my number line as 2's, will be right between 8 and 10, because 9 is between 8 and 10. And then 5, positive 5, will be between 4 and 6. Now, I'm going to pick a different color here. If it were negative 5 would be right between negative 4 and negative 6 right here on a number line. And if it were negative... Oh, we skipped one. I did positive 9. Just realized that. That is positive 9, not negative 9. Or other way around. That's negative 9, not positive 9. So that one needs to be erased. Negative 9 would be between the 10 and the 8 right there at negative 9. See, even I make mistakes, but I caught it. So let me highlight. Sometimes it's better to do this and just highlight. This is positive, this is positive. 8 and 5 should be on the right. There's 8 and there's 5. So I graphed those correctly. These two are negative. Negative 6 and negative 9. Negative 6 is right here. Negative 9 is right there. I graphed these correctly. And that's how you can graph positive and negative integers. And I'm glad I caught that negative 9 mistake over here. Ali, I don't even want to try to pronounce that name, and her dad played golf on 4 different days. The data set -1, +1, -3, +2 shows her scores. Yeah, I don't even want to, I can't even pronounce it. In relation to par. Graph the scores, explain the meaning of the 0 in the situation, draw the number line, and then draw a dot at the location of each golf score. Now, we don't need to know graph scoring all that much, and I don't know graph scoring, but I know that negative means a better score, I believe. I'm not 1,000% sure. But 0, the integer 0 represents par, whatever that means. So let's just say 0 means you didn't score any points. You also didn't get any points against you. So we're going to highlight the negatives so I don't make the same mistake I made last time. So -1, -3, +1, +2. My negatives are on the left side, so -1's right there at -1, -3 is right there at -3 on the left of 0. +1 would be on the right of 0, +2 also on the right of 0, and I graphed my numbers correctly. And that is it for this lesson. Your homework is going to consist of this, which I'm going to erase some of these answers that I just gave you. Remember, you're going to be looking at the key words here. A lot of these key words are going to get you to explain if it's positive or negative, and I would highly suggest making a chart like this and thinking of any other words, especially with the homework. A drop of 200 feet, so you're dropping downward. And remember, on a vertical line, down means negative. So if you're dropping 200 feet, it would be negative. An expansion of 3 cubic meters, expansion means to get bigger. Earn means you're gaining money or you're earning money. Reduce means to take away from. Gain again, and a drop shows up again. So it's going to be vocabulary, and you may want to add those to these lists. And I would highly suggest keeping a list like this in your notebook because this stuff is going to come back up on the test. As always, I've been Mr. P. If you guys have any questions at all, please leave a comment in the comment section, or you can message me on Teams if you're in my class. As always, this is Mr. P, and I will catch you guys on the next one.